welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something super exciting for me. I am going to be reviewing Fenty Beauty's new Hydrating Longwear Foundation. I was lucky enough to get this early and try it out first before it launches, so I thought I would do a video about this and also show you how I've been doing this makeup look I've been wearing recently, where I play around with pinks, with liners, graphic liners. So this is just gonna be like a pretty chill video, I think. This is the first time I'm filming in my living room, so I'm really excited about it. I can't believe I have a living room to film in, because I used to film in a tiny little room where I tried to make it look like a living room, and now I have a real freaking living room, and we've just come so far. I hope the setup is okay for now. I'm filming it in the middle of I'm filming it in the middle of the afternoon. I have lights, I have natural light. I am sweating already. It's so hot, and I just turned off the AC because it's loud. We're gonna power through this and do this foundation review slash makeup look thing. I have an event to go to later, so I'm kind of getting ready for that too. So let's jump right into it. I already did my brows to speed things up a bit and my skincare. So let's test out the Fenty primers first. So along with the foundation, they also have a new hydrating primer. This is the Soft Silk Pro Filter Hydrating Primer. It's in this really cute pink bottle, and then I also have the original one, but it's the travel size. This is their instant retouch primer. I actually haven't played around with this primer too much. I've used it a few times, and then with the new primer and the new foundation, I actually tried it for the first time sorry, that's Cody walking up, my dog. I tried these already the other day for the first time, so I've already I'm a little bit familiar with the product, but I did it really quickly, so we'll try them again today. So I wanted to first compare the two different primers. So first, this is the Instant Retouch Primer, their original primer. I'll squeeze a little bit of that there. And then this is the hydrating one. I probably put the primers a little too closely together, but this is the Instant Retouch one. And then the hydrating one is more of a Are you done? Can you just go to bed, please? I'm trying to film. Thank you. Thank you, Cody. He's looking at me like, okay. Hydrating primer is more of a jelly texture. I'm gonna use the hydrating primer today. Just apply that all over. I used to not like gel textures because it's a bit sticky, or gel moisturizers, and this is kind of what it reminds me of. It is a little bit sticky and tacky, which I think is fine for a primer because you want your foundation to also stick to it. And my skin is combination, I would say it's dehydrated skin, so I do get really oily in the T-zone throughout the day, but all these other areas, they feel a bit more dry. So far, my skin feels really comfortable. It is a bit tackier than most moisturizing or hydrating primers that I've used. Now I'm just going to prime my eyes using the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Eye Primer. I actually do like this primer. It's strong because one time I let it sit for too long and it already dried on my eyes and it was very tacky, so I know it works for eyeshadows. I'm gonna try and use as many Fenty products as I can in this video just for the fun of it, but it's not all gonna be Fenty products. Okay, so let's compare the foundations now. I have the Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation. I'm in the shade 180, and I also have it in the same shade 180 in the hydrating foundation. It might be a little bit too light on me now because we're in the middle of the summer, but it still works, I think. That is the matte foundation. And then the hydrating foundation comes in a tube, but it also has a pump. So I really like that. I didn't even talk about the packaging. When I first opened this, I loved the packaging. I just love all of Fenty Beauty's packaging, to be honest. I'm a huge fan, and I'm trying really hard not to be biased right now because I also love Rihanna, so I'm gonna do my best to do an unbiased review. So this is the matte one. It's pretty thick. And then the hydrating one, it's also pretty thick still. It's not as thick as the matte one, but it is still pretty thick. So I think it'll have good coverage, but I'm not sure how it'll move on my skin. When I tried it the other day, it was a little bit harder to blend out, so we'll see again this time. I think the matte one is a little bit more darker in shade because it's had time to oxidize and stuff. That would explain it. Otherwise, I think they would be the exact same shade. Let's go in with the hydrating foundation now. Now I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty 115 foundation brush. I actually don't know if this is new or they already have it because I did a quick search and didn't see anything pop up immediately. Just gonna use this to spread the foundation. This is spreading a little bit easier than the other day when I tried it. It was harder to move around the other day. Oh, I actually really like it today. Yeah, my skin is still shiny and dewy. It didn't take away from that. And it does feel really light. I'm gonna do another layer around this area because I do have a bit more of hyperpigmentation. And this is medium to full coverage. I think it's really buildable because the other day I did need a little bit more coverage. And once I did a second layer, it looked really good. So I'm just gonna use this brush again and pat it in to cover my more hyperpigmented areas. Wow, I'm actually really liking the finish of this today. I'm not gonna use concealer because I feel like that covered up my skin pretty well. So I'm just gonna move on to powder really quickly. I'm gonna use this one from Beauty Bakery. It's been my favorite since I've gotten it a few months ago. And I'm gonna use the Fenty Beauty sponge. I always just do a really light layer because I don't want to dry out my skin too much. And because I get oily throughout the day, like all that shine and dewiness is gonna come back anyway. But I just want to make sure my foundation doesn't move. Okay, I'm gonna move on to my eye makeup and just let the foundation sit and see how it kind of oxidizes, I guess, as time goes on. I'm gonna first take the Fenty Beauty Moroccan Spice palette. I'm going to use this pink corally peachy color right here. I think it's quicksand. So I'm just gonna take the quicksand pink coral color and apply it mostly towards the top of the eyelid in a rounded motion. I don't need to get too close to the lash line because we're gonna do other colors there. This is just going to be the transition color to help with blending and with gradient, so it's not so harsh. Okay, so we're just gonna leave it at that. So now I'm going to take my Carity Rose All Day palette. I've been playing with this palette a lot throughout summer, and we're going to take this pink shade right here called Hooray, and I'm using the e.l.f. defining eye brush to apply it all over the eyes, and we're gonna start close to the lash line this time. And then the brush I used earlier is the Real Techniques Base Shadow Brush. I love this brush. It's one of my favorites for blending and just creating a really nice shadow gradient. I'm gonna start in the inner corner and just work my way out to the other corner and also bring it upwards towards where we put that coral color. Love this Carity palette. I talked about it in my last Get Ready With Me video. It's really pigmented. Like, look at that. It's such an underrated makeup brand, I think. I'm sorry, I don't have much to talk about today during this video because I am planning on doing a Q&A. I asked my followers on Instagram to submit questions through my stories and just sit down and chat with you guys. So I'm just kind of saving all my talks for that video so I don't run out of things to talk about. Okay, I think that's good for the pink. I'm going to take the Real Techniques Base Shadow Brush again and just blend out the edges a little bit. Next, I'm using the Sephora Pro Blending Brush in 27. It's a fluffy brush with a rounded top. I'm going to go back to the Carity palette. I'm going to use this light brown taupish shade called Corked. Just take a little bit of that. I'm going to apply it in this area of my eye, kind of where I put the coral shade before. I'm just gonna do a light layer of this taupe shade, this brown shade, to add some definition to the eyes, and you don't need too much. This is also going to help the pink graphic line to show a little bit more because you have a darker color in there. Okay. Next, I'm going to take another e.l.f. defining eye brush. I have two of these brushes because I like using them for different colors, because when I use the same brush for two different colors, sometimes it makes the look a little bit muddy looking. I'm gonna go back to the Fenty palette and take this darker pink reddish shade. It's called Saffron, I believe, and I'm going to apply that to the outer half of my eye just to give the pink look some kind of gradient. I've been using these e.l.f. brushes for as long as I can remember. When I first started playing around with makeup, it's one of the first makeup brushes that I purchased because I mean, it was cheap and I just wanted something to play around with. It was really affordable, and now I still use them and I love them. I think they're really versatile and really help with blending. It's really nice. Now I'm gonna take this Luxie pencil brush in 217. I'm gonna take the pink saffron color again and just apply it to the lower lash line. I'm gonna concentrate it just here so that it blends in with the top. So it kind of ties the look together and the bottom lash line doesn't look so bare. The first time I did this look, I coated the entire bottom lash line with pink and then that same taupe color to give it a really sultry, shadowy look. But today I just want to keep it bare because I want to add little dots to the bottom. And the first time I did that, where I put shadow all over the bottom, you couldn't see the dots anymore, but I really want the dots to show this time. Okay, just like that, just a little bit there. We're getting to the trickier part, which is the actual lines above the eyeshadow. To create the lines, I'm using Fenty Beauty's Vivid Liquid Eyeliner in Papaya Mama. And this is like a light pink peachy color. I really like it, and this is actually one of the easier ones to use out of their Vivid Liquid Liner collection. So because I don't have a crease, it does make it a little bit trickier to know where to draw the line. So my trick is I look down like this. I feel really evil every time I do this. So what I do is I look down like this and I can see a bit of where my eye socket is. And that is where I tend to draw the lines and my graphic liners. So I try to follow the shape of that eye socket, where my eye socket is. But you don't have to do that. You can draw whatever flatters your eye shape the most. I just find that that is what works for me when I, played around with it. Wipe off the excess onto the bottle. It's easier for me to start off with a really light product and then build it up. So I want to get the outline of the line correct first, and then I'll go over it again, make sure it's more intense, that there's more color. Can you guys see that? I'll zoom you guys in a bit more. Now I'm going to go over it again to intensify the color. If you mess up, you can use a brush like this to clean up the lines before it dries. You'll want to do it really quickly though, because you don't want it to settle in and then move your eyeshadow around. So that's it for the lines. I'm just gonna leave it for now. I'm happy with it. Now I want to draw the dots underneath. I'm going to use Fenty Beauty's Liquid Liner in Techno Beat. This is a more fuchsia, like darker pink color. I forgot to swatch the other one for you guys, so I'm going to do that. This is Papaya Mama. We just used that one. So first I like to mark where I want the dots to go, and then I will go back and make it bigger, thicker, intensify, whatever it is. And same with the lines that you draw on top. If you want them to be thicker, then you can go do that. If you want to add other colors, like, feel free to just play around. And there you go. Now we just really need to complete the look with lashes. I'm using the Ardell Wispies. These have been my favorites. I always talk about these. Now I'm going to curl my lashes. Now that the eyes are done, I'm going to move on to the rest of my face with contour, blush, highlight, lip color. For contour, I'm going to use Fenty Beauty's Sunstalker in Shady Biz. This has been one of my favorites to use. It's just a really beautiful bronze shade. And I'm taking my Sephora Pro Contour Brush number 79. I like to start in the cheekbone area. And I'm actually going to bring it down to my cheeks a bit and have it blend in with my blush color, because I don't want a strong blush for this look. I want it to be kind of muted so that the attention is mostly on the eyes and then a little bit on the lip color. I'm also going to take it down the jawline. So now I'm going to contour my nose with this nose contour brush from Luxie. This is broken. I swear, like, I had one before and it also broke. The end that was more flat and it was more for defining broke, and then I thought it was because I wasn't taking good care of it, But this one I was super careful with. I made sure that I always put it in a safe place, and that's why I don't really like dual-ended brushes. Storing them is just really weird and really inconvenient. I did like that this had two ends to it because it was really great for contouring, but if it's gonna break every single time, even when I care about it, take extra care for it, it's just not worth it. Anytime you see this brush and it's broken, it's not because of me. Does anyone else have this brush and have this issue? Because I was really sad when it broke again. And I guess I could just glue it back, but now I don't even know where the other piece to this is. I'm gonna do blush now. I'm gonna use this one from Tarte. It's called Quirky. It's like a muted pink shade. I just want something light to go over the cheeks, but not something too heavy that'll clash with all of this pink, because this is a lot of shades of pink. So just want something neutral. For highlight, I'm gonna use this one from Charlotte Tilbury. This is their Film Star Bronze and Glow Face Sculpt and Highlight in Medium. I'm gonna use the Real Techniques fan brush to apply this down the nose bridge. This highlight is strong. I love it. It's really pretty too. And then also, wow, down this cheekbone area. And then sometimes if I feel like it, I'll add it to the tops, my forehead area and my chin. Now lastly, for lip color, what I've been doing is mixing a few different shades. So today I'm gonna take the Fenty Beauty Poutsicle lipstick in Tropic Tantrum. It's this very bright, would you call this magenta? It's not fuchsia. Fuchsia would be darker, right? But magenta is pretty dark too. Whatever, it's like a hot Barbie elastic pink. That's what I'm gonna call it. And I'm gonna take it on a brush. This is the Royal & Langnickel lip brush. Just gonna take some color off of that and apply it to the center of my lips and then work my way out. I'm just gonna apply it very loosely and roughly because I just wanna give my lips a small tint, but I don't want this to be my actual lip color because this pink actually clashes a bit from the eyes. So I'm actually going to apply it all over and then wipe it off with tissue and then apply gloss on top because I do want the glossy look, but I want one like in this color or this tint. So here's a tissue. It's kind of dirty with foundation, but we'll just ignore that. So you see how it kind of stays in the center. Now I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in Fenty Glow and apply that all over. And sometimes if I feel like the center is not like gradiented enough, I do like it to be like a gradient gloss lip. I just go back and apply a little bit more color, the fuchsia color to the center. That is the finished makeup look. So here are my last thoughts on the primer and the foundation. In terms of the primer, I think it's really nice. I think it's really comparable to a lot of other hydrating primers out there. This one is more of a jelly-like texture. The one I've been using from Laura Mercier actually does just feel like a moisturizer. This one definitely feels like a primer because it's a little bit more tackier. I would recommend this if you are a huge Fenty fan and just want the Fenty collection, then yes, definitely add this to your collection. But other than that, I think it's really comparable to other primers that are out there. And then in terms of the Hydrating Longwear Foundation, it's really interesting, I think, because it is still pretty thick for a hydrating foundation. I've used a lot of other hydrating foundations and they're thin. There's not a lot of like creaminess to it, but this one is still pretty creamy. Obviously not as creamy as their original matte foundation, but it's still pretty thick. And I think the reason behind that is they still wanted to give you a product that had really amazing coverage, which it does. It has medium to full coverage. I feel like it covered up my spots pretty well, and I don't have to use a concealer to hit those hyperpigmentation spots because a concealer is even thicker than a foundation. That was my favorite part about it, that it's buildable, that I can go back and cover up and just use more foundation rather than using a whole nother product. I can see though that if I come closer, there are parts of my face that are a bit cakey. Kind of accentuates my lines a little bit. You can't really tell from far away, so I don't mind it too much, but from up close, like I can see that it is a little bit thicker. But overall, I think it's really nice. I'm just not really worried about it because I do have oily skin, so the thickness is not gonna bother me throughout the day so much because the oil kind of just absorbs it and it's fine, or it absorbs the oil. I don't know how it works. I am more curious to know how this is going to work on people with drier skin and drier skin types. I hope this provided some insight for you guys on the new Fenty foundation and primer. I haven't done a review video like this in a while, so I almost forgot what was even important to talk about. I was like, oh, the packaging, I should talk about that too. So I hope this video was helpful. If not, I hope you enjoyed learning how I created this makeup look. If you recreate it on yourself, please tag me. I would love to see. With that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe if you are not subscribed already and want to see more videos from me. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!